Hi folks, Trish Triumpho Sullivan here, and I'm going to talk and give a quick demo about our candid portrait. This is a quick demo for lecture number 27, part 2. So we talked earlier about candid portraits, and this is a demo on how to shoot from the hip. So number one, you want to make sure and take your lens cap off, right? Because you're not going to get many shots with that. Number two, you want to pre-focus your camera. So you want to use a manual focus if you have a manual focus. If you don't have a manual focus, you pre-focus by pressing halfway down on your shutter release button, and it should turn your little focus ring, or little focus green, and so it's focused on something. You'll do halfway down and you'll be able to see it, okay? So when you're shooting from the hip, the first thing you do is pre-focus your camera. And what I recommend doing is picking something that's about the same distance away as you are from your subject. So in this case, I will pretend there's a person on this stool over here, and I'm going to say this stool is probably about 5 feet away from me, right? So I can see the stool's 5 feet away, and I look over here and I see there's a bookcase that's about 5 feet away as well. So I'm going to focus on the bookcase. So I pre-focus my camera by focusing on the bookcase. And remember, you need to set your camera settings for your lighting situation. If you're outdoors in bright sunny weather, you follow the sunny 16 rule. F16 at 2/50th of a second at ISO of 200, okay? Then if you're indoors, right, or if you're in cloudy weather, you're going to have 3 stops more light. Indoors is 4 to 5 stops more light. Nighttime, like a well-lit downtown or night game, is 6 stops more light. And candlelight is 10 stops more light. Okay, so those are the things you need to remember. Or write them down. Make a cheat sheet. It's the easiest way to go, okay? So you pre-focus your camera once you've had it set for your lighting situation. And then what I do is I kind of hold my camera like this, and I hold it on my hip. I point it towards the subject, but I look the other direction, and then I take the photo. Boom. I've got my photo. I shot from the hip. It's in focus because I focused on something the same distance away, but it's a little bit of subterfuge, right? You want to be stealthy. You don't want someone to know that you're taking their photo. So you want to make sure that you're kind of doing what magicians do, okay? They have some sleight of hand, and they usually get your attention away from what they don't want you to look at and get you to look at something that they want you to look at. So that's exactly what we're doing here. We're doing a little bit of stealthiness, a little subterfuge, a little trickery, if you want to put it that way. And we're pretending that we're looking, that our attention is in the other. We can even be talking to someone. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, what's going on? Oh, cool, right? And you take your photo, and the person will never know that you took a photo. They'll never know. So it's all about preparation. You want to make sure that you have your camera set for the proper lighting conditions. You pre-focus on something about the same distance away, and then when you go to take your photo, you hold your camera down low, right? You can, even if you have a strap, you can have it just hanging there, right? And when you're not looking at it, at the subject, their attention's not gonna be on you. Remember we talked about eye directors, and one of the eye directors is where you're looking. So if you're looking at the subject, they're gonna know you're looking at them, and you're gonna get their attention, right? And you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you get the attention away from the subject. So look in the opposite direction. Look somewhere, anywhere else but that. And that's great advice no matter when you want to film something, whether it's a photograph or a video, kind of you know, on the QT, right? You don't want someone to know you're filming or taking a photograph. You want to get the attention away from your subject. Okay, so that usually it's from looking in another direction, right? That's it for this demo. Thank you very much, and see you on the next lecture. Hi folks, Trish Triumpho Sullivan here with PHOTO1 candid examples. These are candid portraits, which means the person was unaware that their portrait was being taken. So this is pretty important skill to have. We're going to look at some different ones, good and bad. And I'll talk about these examples as we go through. So remember, a candid portrait is the opposite of a formal portrait. Formal portrait is planned. A candid portrait is not only unplanned, but the subject is completely unaware that their photo is being taken. This is a great way to capture emotion and feelings that the person might not be inclined to share otherwise. So let's look at some examples. So here's one. Yeah, the guy doesn't know his photo is being taken, but it's not too interesting. This could have been really nice, except the focus is slightly off. You can see the focus here is on her hair, but not on her face. The face is a little blurry, so we see the hair is in sharp focus. So the focus is very narrow, and it's off just enough so the face is blurry, so it's kind of hard to see the subject. Candid portraits don't mean that you have to make someone look bad. Portraits of, grandma who spilled a bunch of food on her bib or whatever is like probably disrespectful and inappropriate. Then that's not the point of a candid photograph. Something like this, I remember I told you guys no babies, right? We don't want a picture of a baby in a diaper. This student maybe was taking the photo of the adult. But to me, it looks like this is about the baby, and even though it's a cute photograph, it doesn't qualify for the assignment, okay? This, however, does qualify for the assignment. It shows someone who obviously has seen better times. Here again, you can see the focus is slightly off. The focus is actually on the jacket over here as opposed to on the face. This is why it's good to try to pre-focus your camera when you're doing a candid shot and really try to make sure that you have your number of feet going there. So once again, I told you guys no TV and no video games. Although this is fun because you can see the kid has actually jumped up off the ground. It's a fun photograph, but it's not part of our assignment, okay? So it goes against the assignment. No TV watching and no video games. Here's one where it's difficult to see the face, but to me it looks like the guy's looking directly into the camera, which means it would not be a really good candidate for a candid photo. And the lighting is terrible. So remember, the time of day when you take a photo makes all the difference. One of the criteria, you have to show the face of your subject. So if the face is covered, it's a no-go for this assignment. Okay. Once again, I told you guys no cell phones. Okay. I don't care how cute the kid is. This is a great photo, but does not satisfy the perimeters of the assignment. Not only do we have to see the face, but you cannot have cell phone use, TV use, reading a book, video games, anything like that, okay? Here's a really good one. So it qualifies, it uses the rule of thirds very well. We can tell a lot about the subject by how she's dressed and what environment she's in. The lighting is decent. We can see the expression on her face. Her face is like diffused light. Even though she's in full sun, her face is in the shade, so it's diffused light. But the exposure is perfect for her face, so we can see her expression. It could tell us a few different things. She's, maybe someone just shouted something and she's like, say what? Or she has a concern about something that's going on. It's definitely not a posed photograph, and you can tell by her expression. And we also know something about her and her culture from the way she's dressed. So it's just a very well done photograph for a candid. All right, here's one where we're not really clear like who might be the subject. The lighting is good, but there's a lot going on, and the focus, the depth of field is pretty wide, pretty deep. So we can't really tell what we should be focusing on or whom. Remember, there has to be pretty much one subject. Here's one where you can tell the woman knew her photo is being taken. You guys don't try to fool us. Okay, we can tell. You can tell that she knows her photo's being taken. She's not just like showing up in a cow pasture or something with her guitar and just happens to be there just at the right time of day with the perfect sun. Now, if this was a formal portrait, I'd go for it, right? But it's not. It was turned in as a candid portrait, and it would have been a great formal. I would totally go with this as for a formal portrait. But for a candid, no, it's not working. We can tell that she knows her photo's being taken. Here's one too far away, not good lighting. Right? Here's another one. I said no babies. As cute as this little guy is, washing the car with dad or grandpa, whichever. Yeah, it's not going to work. No babies in diapers. Right? Here's one where the guy knew his photograph was being taken, disqualified. Right? Here's one where the hand's cut off. This could have been better if it was cropped up a little bit, right? To maybe just show his head and shoulders. His facial expression isn't particularly interesting, but it's a candid. Okay, this is one that I really like a lot. The student here fooled her husband and son when they were working on the engine. She said she was doing close-ups of the engine and while they were working on it. And so they were just kept busy working, thinking she was just taking photos of the engine. And it really does. It's a real nice candid. You can tell it's not posed. They're definitely busy doing their thing. And this arm coming in here is a real nice dynamic, like keeping us right into it. Has a real good composition, kind of triangular. Real nice. Here's one of my very favorites. This is a great photo. And it has a lot of stuff going on. And we can tell a lot just by this gal's expression. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger here. So I would actually have cropped this up if this were me. I would have cropped it up just a little bit to zoom in on the action here. So we can tell a few things by this one. One is we see a wedding cake on the right, and it looks like she has a piece of cake in her hand. Now we've got a motion blur from the groom there, and it looks to me like she was probably trying to shove the cake in his mouth and make a mess, smear it all over. And it looks like that from the look on her face. She has that little devilish expression. She's up to no good, right? And of course, the best part is she has a knife in her other hand. So there's quite the there's quite the scene going on there. So this tells a lot. This is a great candid photo. The photographer has captured an expression on the subject that will never be forgotten. This is a framer. This is one that you would frame and put up on the wall. It's great. It tells a great story, and this captures a beautiful moment in their lives, playful and fun, and the expression is absolutely priceless. Here's one that doesn't work, right? You can't see the face. It's really far away, and it's boring. There's nothing that really tells us much about anything going on here. Here's another one where you can tell the guy knew his photo was being taken. And you guys, you know what? It's just obvious. As you look back through this, if you watch this again, you can tell which ones, right? This one, I happen to know they didn't know their photo was being taken. It was a shoot from the hip kind of a thing. So they were goofing around at the wharf, and we were there. It was a class field trip, so I was actually a witness to it being taken, and they really didn't know. But what a great photo, right? Here's one where the face is too dark again. So, you know, be aware of what your exposure is and expose for the face, right? Not for the surroundings. Here's one. It's candid, but it looks more like a Diet Coke commercial or whatever than a candid. Not bad though. The lighting's good. We can see his face, but just not particularly interesting. Okay, here's one where the horizon line is off, and once again, pretty dark, so it's hard to see what's going on. This is a really wonderful photograph, However, you can't see the subject's face, so it doesn't qualify for that. Here's another one I like a lot. You can tell a lot from the expression on this woman's face. You can see that the photographer is the lady in the red plaid shirt, and she's holding her camera down by her hip, right? She's shooting from the hip. She's looking, the camera is looking up into the face of the subject, and the subject looks like she's not a real happy camper, right? She looks like she's kind of angry about something. She's got a look on her face. She's not someone I'd want to meet up with in a dark alley with that kind of a look. The kid is looking in the camera, but the subject is not. Right? Here's one with a rearview mirror. That's kind of a fun reflection. I'd accept that. Right? Too far away, too dark. Not working. Right? Reading a book. Not working. Here's a nice one, right? Nice and close up. And you can always tell when someone is a candid photo when they're smiling like this, because look, her mouth is open. Now, nobody poses for a photograph with their mouth open. I don't care what's going on. So you can tell this is a genuine, happy, joyful expression. The composition is good. It's a narrow depth of field. The background is blurred out. There's no doubt who this is about. Look at the great lighting going on here. This is a fantastic candid portrait. Right? So is this one. Look at this. It's a grandfather and a grandson at a baseball game. Narrow depth of field. We can tell where they're at. The composition is fantastic. It uses the rule of thirds. The lighting is good. This is a frameable one, right? Really nice, really good. Here's one where the person totally knew his photo was being taken. Sorry, not working. Okay. Plus it's dark, indoor lighting, crappy. Here's indoor, but the lighting's good. These kids are not babies, and this is definitely not posed. And it's a fun little family. I would have liked to have seen it be a little bit narrower depth of field so we didn't have the intrusion of the machines in the background. But what a great photo of some little family members. This could be funny. It's okay. This one, back is turned. You can't see the face. It's a no-go. Remember I said no babies? I meant no babies. Here we can't see the face again. This could have been good if you went down from the hip and shot up into her face, right? Could walk by and just click the camera as you're doing it. But unfortunately they didn't, so no qualification. Here's another one, can't see the face. Can't see the face. You can see the face, but the kid knows his photo's being taken. Maybe not good. Once again, can't see the face. Here's a precious one, right? Look at this kid's face. Who wouldn't want to give her a soda pop with a face like that? Too far away, too dark. Kind of far away. You can see the face, not particularly interesting, however. Here's another one where the person knew his photo was being taken. You guys don't try it. It's so obvious, right? So let's go back and see my favorite. Oh, well, she's pretty sweet too. She's definitely a favorite. Who can resist that? We were looking at Miss Joyful Expression, and she's wonderful. What a great candid. There's another great candid. So you guys have some fun with this. Practice shooting from the hip. Remember, you want to make sure that the people don't know their photos being taken. That's the whole point. But make sure your focus and depth of field are spot on. And make sure your lighting is good, right? So look for really good lighting conditions. That's one of the most important things, right? Have fun, take some good photos, and we'll see you in class.